Yo, yo, yo.
Welcome back.
What's going on? What's going
Yeah, man, another freaky Friday, or I guess in my case, another funny Friday. But keep the vibes high, man.
Funny? Why is it funny? You want to elaborate any or?
Uh, it's actually ironic that it happened today because that's what we're talking about with these
Okay.
setbacks. But yeah, I'll get into it later, man. It's
Okay.
nothing,
All right. All right.
nothing
We'll hold
crazy.
off on that.
Yeah,
We'll hold off on that, man. Lil,
maritime. What's going on, man?
No,
good
what's man?
time.
What's up with y'all?
Living the dream,
So,
brother.
so you know, Chuck said something to us earlier today, and it had to do with Chicago Bulls star. What's his name? Giddy,
Yeah,
where he brought up how come all of a sudden, the his case is no longer being talked about. What y'all thoughts on that? Because
I
I
mean,
don't think any of us spoke about it in the group.
we don't really do sports over here, and that's really not.
Yeah, we
That's a
know
whole
that,
other.
but
That's a whole other can of worms that you know what I mean, that I don't really know if I want to get into about it. Because I actually, when I saw that, I actually looked it up, and it was something between the NBA and whatever town that happened, and kind of dismissed it. So yeah. So that's
yeah.
really all I got on that. I don't really got nothing
yeah. I ain't
else.
got much more, man.
I'm on
Like,
that. I'm
if
cool.
he did
Mm.
if he did something and got off, then kudos to him. But I didn't follow the story enough to know the
Yeah, but the
details
niggas
of
don't
it.
get away with shit. Not that they should, but
Right.
Well,
Like what? Like
there's a different
I don't
microscope on the
understand the
black community,
correlation.
man. Different
mm,
microscope on black community, man.
Yeah. Word
That
up.
goes without
Word up.
saying.
yeah, I thought about that for a while today.
Oh man, but no man, tough week. I want to send a rest in peace shout out to the Golden family. My man Mook passed away earlier this week. Young guy, probably about in his Mook was in his late 30s, probably just turned 40.
Wow.
Mm.
That super young. Heart attack, man. So if I'm gonna open
Oh
this
wow.
up on anything, I'm just gonna talk about let's continuing to take care of ourselves. You know what I mean? Go to the
Yeah.
doctor, all of that good stuff right there. Because 40 is way too young for someone like that to be passed. I mean, for anybody, but 40 is way too
Yeah.
young to be passing away.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that man has kids, he has a family that he's responsible for and everything, man. And so yeah, I want to definitely send a rest in peace. What I mean, to the Golden family.
Yeah.
With the passing of Mook this week, man. Tough one.
It's I don't want to say it's funny, it's not the right word, but it's interesting when you hear the stories and it's like, yo, he's in the same age group as I am, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that could have been any one of us. Which is
Mm-hmm.
scary when you think about it, because it's like when we were younger, you heard these stories, and it was like older cats,
Yeah.
and now like we're getting hit younger and younger with this stuff, man, and you never know, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's
And
wild.
so, kind of staying on par, talking about setbacks, his passing is, I mean, I guess you can say it's somewhat of a setback for his family,
Yeah,
whoever he might have been responsible for, helping take care of his kids, you know what I mean? Like all
yeah,
of that stuff. So, you know what I mean? Super duper tough. Super duper tough. As the youngin, Hank rolls in, and while we're in the news of like maybe spinning from some negativity with the past into some positive news. All Love came out on Tubi this week, so let's get a round of applause and a hand clap for that. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That it's on Tubi, so everybody can go. You can go stream it, download it, all that stuff. So shout out to the good brother Hank. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And All Love cast. That is out now. You know what I mean? On Tubi, that you can check that out. So that's good stuff. Good stuff. But
Man.
you
Matter of
guys,
fact,
we
you're in all love.
huh?
You're in all love, ain't you?
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
in
we
the movie.
we
Yeah.
got, we got a cameo. We got
Yeah.
a
Yeah. You in there?
got a cameo. The Dorchester
Don't be
T.
modest, man.
Dorchester T is clearly locked in that club scene. You see that as soon as it come around, Dorchester, you know exactly who that is right there. So you know what I mean. Shout out to Capo for throwing me the alley oop in that. That was pretty dope.
100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, man.
actually, we have somebody from All Love that's actually pulling up with us tonight.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Extended family, joining
Mhm.
the show, man. You know what I'm saying? As we, again, talk setbacks in life and how do we deal with them? How do we recover from them? So it's gonna be an interesting show, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a little different spin from last week where we were talking about finances in the black community, the black dollar. Shout out to
Mm.
Daniel Laurent, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to the good brother James Levesque for pulling up and schooling guys and giving guys advice on that stuff. Super duper, super helpful show. You know what I mean? A lot of good energy, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
lot of good energy.
definitely a good conversation.
Yeah, much needed, much needed. So I mean, without getting too much, like, what you guys have any like quick, like small examples maybe you want to give of like a setback, or do we want to just talk about you guys' week and stuff like that? Because we still got a little bit of time. We don't want to just jump.
Yeah, let's save that for the show,
Save-
man, because
Oh,
I,
okay, because
I'm
I
I'm
definitely
ready
was
for this
gonna
one.
give you one.
Okay.
I had a good week, man. I've I had a it was a good week, but it was interesting because my manager resigned and
Mm,
I took the role because of her.
mm.
So it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks, maybe next couple of months, to see how this thing works itself out.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be scary
you
sometimes.
know what I
When new
mean?
people come in.
I was hired by a black woman. I hadn't been hired by a black woman since, I don't know, 20 years ago in my part-time job when I was in school. So that was a big part of the reason I took the role. It wasn't really the money because the money's going to come, but I was looking for an opportunity to be mentored and be kind of groomed a little bit for progress, something I had been lacking somewhat through my career. So when I heard that she was leaving, I pulled her aside and was like, "Yo, this is gonna suck for a while. If I can be
Hmm.
completely frank, you know what I mean? Because I took this job because of you."
Yeah.
Um,
Did she know that going in?
no, and I don't think she knew that she planned to resign. I think it's one of those
Mm,
funny situations. But whatever the case, we did have our conversation. We'll stay in touch, and we'll see how it goes.
all right, that's what's up.
Daniel, what's good, brother? Well, that's not Daniel. That's Nicholas. My fault. What's up, Nicholas? How you feeling, man?
Hey, it's my guy L, man. You know what I mean? Next we ever do a cipher again, that's somebody we need to have in the cipher. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Capo
hustle.
want to check
Yeah,
in. Capo
I
want
don't
to
know.
check.
I've been writing. I'm ready to get back in the booth.
what
Oh
booth?
shit.
Phone booth?
Hey,
Oh
see, y'all got
shit.
jokes now. I've been writing. Hey,
Oh,
Charles, I'm waiting for you.
oh shit.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yo. Might have to bring that. Might have to bring that back, man. Might have to
Might
bring
be
that.
time.
Might have to bring that back, yo. Might have to
Might be
bring that
time.
back.
Yeah, might be time.
You know what I'm saying?
But how was you guys' week, man?
Um, Little, you want to go? My week was straight. It's constantly busy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I had to get out of here, man. Get out of the class tonight and like make sure I booked it over here. Shout out to my partner that helps with me, Chef Jen. Chef Jen Z was there with me tonight, rocking out with the kids, man. You know what I'm saying? And like, we had a small group. But
Yeah.
that's one part of my week that when stuff like this happens with like with a passing, like that kind of stuff, like puts things in perspective and it kind of balances it out. You know what I'm saying? Like it super balances
Yeah.
it out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was cool.
So yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah. On my end, it definitely was a setback. This week's been real hectic because of the setback. Had a relative pass. 2 Sundays ago and whatnot. So trying to get everything together, it is draining all while trying to live life and raise kids
Mhm.
and do all these other little things. It's just been call after call. It's definitely been a hectic time, right? But tomorrow, you know, uh, we say our farewells tomorrow. That's what it is. But hopefully everything turns out cool.
My condolences, man. Sorry for
Yeah.
your loss, brother.
Condolences, definitely condolences. But I did see you had some good stuff going on this week too with your
Mm.
youngin. You know what I mean? She's doing great with in the fashion world. So
Yeah, yeah.
shout out to Sam, you know what I mean, for doing that and being great in that world. She's gonna be amazing in it. So, see stuff like that kind of balances it out, right? You know what I mean? It helps
Mhm.
a little
Yeah, I
bit.
guess.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's never easy, man. It's constant setbacks that we got to deal with in life. But what we'll get into, what we'll talk about is like what methods, do we take to what methods do we take to cope with those, balance those things out, you know what I'm saying? Like setbacks. And then like, there's a flip side to that too, you know what I'm saying? So like when you get the triumph from the setback, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
How good does that feel? So yeah, we'll talk about that with the good brother Riq. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's gonna be a good
Okay.
show. Shout out to Capo, shout out to Payne. They're
Mhm.
not here tonight. So
Shout out to Roxbury.
Well, shit. If we ain't got nothing going on, man, let's get right to it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, let's do what we do.
Hey yo, Donut White, no muzzle. Sparring Minds live every Friday. Let's go. Look, it's Sparring Minds. If you don't know the name, look us up. You know it's all facts when you got Chef Maine cooking up a couple of brothers who know all about the struggle. Black excellence, you know we just work hard and hustle. Whenever you want that urban talk, you know we keep it real. Mr. Maritime on the mic. Yeah, you know the deal is real life. Hotel High Tower bringing you the feel. DJ Payne keep it 100. Matter of fact, keep it a mill. Let's go. Let's go.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. That intro
What's
never
going on?
gets old. Shout out to D White on the intro. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But yeah, man. Spawn Minds, listeners, viewers, we are back. Friday night live. Um, Not really the skeleton crew. Capo and Payne are away on business
Mhm.
handling things, you know what I mean? But we're gonna hold it down. And yeah, man, we this conversation will be about, dealing with setbacks and things of that
Mm.
nature when you're in the prime of your life, and then how do we handle these things and what goes on. And so we want to bring someone in who is who I'm pretty sure has a good perspective on these things, might have dealt with some setbacks, but also might have dealt with some triumph returns from that. Friend of the show, you know what I mean, just a friend, never mind of the show. Like this is our brother in
First
real,
and
Yeah,
foremost.
real life. This is
definitely.
our brother in real life that we definitely rock with. And yeah, he was happy to pull up with us tonight, man. So let's welcome the brother Riq Havoc in here, man. You dig?
What up? What's going
Yo,
on? What's
What's
going
up,
Brother,
on?
what's
family?
going on
Sparring
with you,
How
man?
you
Minds
doing?
family.
what's up, man? How you doing,
What's going
brother?
on?
You good?
No, I was looking at the shirt. I thought it said something like Matter Pain. I was about to say, what the fuck is that?
I
Nah.
would come on, man.
Yo,
This
Listen,
this is the
yo,
I
Rocks,
had to
man.
look real hard, man. I'm listening.
you didn't think
Nah,
that. Now
nah.
you didn't
Nothing
think
against
that.
Matter Pen, because you know,
So you
Chuck from Memphis,
disrespectful
we
for
give him a
that.
hard time sometimes, but you already know this is the Roxbury brand. Fly at heart. Um, you already know, support my boy.
Okay, that's what's up.
Love,
Support my
love.
boy Steph. Fly at heart. That's who makes the sweatsuits. That's who got it going. My dog since 6 years old got it support.
Okay. Well, man, Riq, we definitely appreciate you for rocking out, pulling up with us tonight. You know what I mean? As we talk about, we discuss coping with setbacks during the years is supposed to be like our peak, our prime years. The season is about, prime and everything related to it. So, this is one
Mhm.
part of it. Last week was the the financial piece. So this week we'll be talking about the setbacks. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, Hightower had something that we want to say for the pre-show. I mean, I'm just saying. So like, pull up to the chair, like shrug your
So
shoulders out. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah.
yeah, man, let's get to it, man.
Boxing
So you
match.
gotta loosen up.
Yeah. So no, in all seriousness, no, fellas, like we're all in our 40s. You know what I mean? Like, what is that whole thing like of dealing with like setbacks like in your prime, right? And then how is it that you're able to, it's kind of a two-part question. What setbacks have you had, and what steps are you taking to try to weed yourself like away from that? So yeah, let's start up with Hightower.
So I think the bigger question is, because like we're in our prime now, right? So we're going to handle things differently now than we would have prior.
Back then, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I can give an example, like, without going into detail, I've had a nice handful of setbacks as a young guy, adolescence, young adult, even into my 30s. And my reaction to them were maybe not the best because of however I was handling situations at that time. But you fast forward now to today, for example, and you have to take things as they are. I guess you can't put too much stock into some of these situations because it's life, right? Things happen, and how you react to or respond to them can dictate the next thing. You know what I mean? So if you react out of pocket, you're not going to get through that any smoother than you would have previously. You know what I mean? So like for me, it's just a matter of back when Maine and I just kind of kicked things off, I was like, listen, I just gotta keep smiling, man. I gotta keep looking forward, because once you get caught up looking behind you, you're likely to trip on what's going on in front of you. So keep your head up, keep focused on what's going on in front of you, man, and that'll help some of the anguish of these setbacks. But what you don't want to do is let that setback derail any progress you've made to this point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Little.
Shit, setbacks. Oh shit, I deal with setbacks all the time. Shoot, I mean, man, I mean, firsthand some of the setbacks. Whether it's the league, or just dealing with, some of the stuff we deal with on the podcast. I mean, I think, in my younger years, I don't think I would have been able to handle those setbacks. I probably would have quit, said, F this, kept on moving. But I think in my older days, in my older years now, I'll be 49, Wednesday.
Hey.
Now, as of recent, I do a lot more thinking. And before I kind of speak, before I even kind of do a lot of things now, just trying to figure out just the right thing to do, how to speak to a certain person and stuff like that. In my younger years, I wasn't the best at speaking to people, and like my son will tell you firsthand, like I used to get down on him when it comes to a lot of things, and I think that kind of set us back in relationship wise, because it kind of pushed him, away, and so like learning from him, I learned how to kind of talk with my other kids, as they were growing and stuff like that. Me and my son, we're good, but it took me some time to kind of, figure it out, so to speak, and whatnot. But that's probably been one of my biggest setbacks, if I have to say, just reaching my own kids, and just telling them the right shit to do.
Okay. Riq.
See something.
I'll say for a minute, it's been since a youngin. Being able to pull myself, I'll be able to say it like out of dark spaces, right? Being able to bounce back from adversity, being an athlete, understanding right, especially being a football player, it's 4 quarters to a game. It's never really over until it's over. Yeah, I might go through this at this one point, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go through stuff. Whether it was losing a girlfriend, early in my like early teen or late teens, early 20s, friends getting killed, friends going to jail, situations almost getting myself in, caught up in situations where it's like to be able to pull yourself out of that. It's just literally realizing like every day is a new day. And that's why I kind
Yep.
of felt in like with Nipsey Hussle, right? That's how I got into Nip, the whole marathon theory, where it's like day by day, brick by brick, just
Mhm.
building each day, right?
Yeah.
Each day affects nothing but the next day. So just trying to focus on that, pulling myself out of that, realizing that I'm okay, I'm making progress, I'm gonna be okay. That if I stop, it'll be a lot worse than keep going.
Right.
So again,
Yeah.
so just keeping that in mind, just remembering that winners are made from bounce backs or failure.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um. I mean, yeah, setbacks that I've been dealing with them. Yeah, my whole life pretty much. But I'd say one of the more recent ones that was pretty tough was I'd say like around 2022. This was October. I had abruptly quit my job at the Boston Public School because I just wasn't happy with it. Like I just,
Mm.
you know what I mean? And it probably wasn't the most rational, probably the most I didn't fully think it through. Like I kind of, what I mean, I kind of, as the young people say, like crashed out and kind of went like
Yeah.
on an emotional thing where I just was like, yo, I'm tired of this, F this, and like that was it. And I didn't think it all the way through in terms of like, now if you quit this, like what's the next step? You know what I mean? What's that gonna be like? And it
Yeah.
definitely took me a good it took me a good year or so to really like bounce back from that because I wasn't working. I was like hustling food, doing DoorDash, doing like a bunch of different odd jobs for over like a year's time. And then the blessing came in, I'd say about April of 2023. And it was crazy because we had just had a Spawn Minds retreat.
Mhm.
One of my mentors had just passed away, like not too long after we got back, and I told myself, like, I was supposed to call him. He called me the Friday we were leaving to go to Atlanta, and then he passed away probably like that Monday or Tuesday. And I never got a chance to really like respond back to him or anything like that. You know what I mean? And so that was really really tough, right? But then I had a good brother named Frank Farrell call me probably like that April and was like, "Yo, man, I got this amazing opportunity for you. I want you to go to the vineyard for 28 days with these young men and all this stuff." So I was like, okay, like that was like somewhat of a start of like a bounce back from
Yeah.
something that was like going like really, really bad in terms of just dealing with a bunch of stuff. So it was a super tough time, but that really like was the thing that like really helped get my juices going again because I got a chance to be away, be in a different space, and then I got a chance to be around some young men who just had amazing energy and just like kind of we were breathing life into each other, and they had no idea
It's
of
contagious.
some of the
Yeah.
things that I was going through in the moment. But even in those moments when we were down in the vineyard, we would have real conversations about dealing with like real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? To the point where like they were being vulnerable as far as like telling me what was going on with things in their personal life. And so like we were all having a setback like prior in that moment, but we were like kind of lifting ourselves up, from it.
Yeah.
So one thing that I would say about dealing with setbacks is making sure that you're able to have like some good energy, good people like around you when you're dealing with that kind of stuff, because those can be the people that can really help you,
Yeah. Get you out
during
of it.
some dark and
Yeah.
really during some tough times. You know what I'm saying? Like, so between them, I have my Sparring Minds brothers that were like right there with me, like during the process, and giving you tough love too on top of that, because you need tough love
Yeah.
also. You don't just need someone who's gonna just be like, yeah, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. And like I already know some of my
Mm.
they're not gonna do that. They're gonna be like, nah, yo, you did this, nah, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Type shit. So you know what I mean? Like it definitely no, I'm just saying, like I'm
Yeah.
just being honest. Like that's what it is. It's not gonna be no cookie cutter like
Yeah.
bullshit. It's gonna be like some real shit. But again, when you're going through those kinds of times, you're dealing with setbacks. One of the most important things to have around you is good people, good energy, because that can prevent the crash out. That can prevent you from just like totally, wilding out. You know what I'm saying? And it was a big thing. Yeah. And so, and a year ago, I started, going to therapy, right? And
Mhm.
that was one thing that definitely like helped me during some times and getting some stuff off, and actually helping me find ways to cope and deal with setbacks without crashing at them, and giving me perspective on different things. So, it was a really good thing, you know what I mean, having that around you.
Yeah, therapy was a big, big battery for me. Um, it actually actually changed the direction of a lot of things I had going for me because I wasn't considering all aspects. I was considering everybody but myself, and I didn't
Yeah.
realize it until I went through therapy, and it was like, "So, what about you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but," and I'm talking about everybody else and all the other things I'm doing for, the house and the job and this
Never
and that,
really taking no time out
and
to
I wasn't
really
taking
care
time for
about self.
myself, and they were like, "Well, who's if you're doing all this for everybody, who's doing anything for you?" type thing,
Yeah.
and they had to like really like beat me over the head with it for me to realize like, wow, I've been selling myself short for a long time, and you don't realize it until you have to like have someone unbiased in your ear and telling you about it, and then you start putting things in perspective, and it's like light bulb goes off, and it's like, okay, I gotta do some things differently, and a lot of things have been different from those moments. So
Right.
Tell me
yeah,
about it.
yeah. But before that, man, like Maine was saying, man, you crash out, you just react and spaz without even thinking through the consequences of your actions. You just kind of react, and I was 100% guilty of reacting all the time. And I was reacting because a lot of the stuff I was reacting to was just, built up anger, built up resentment, frustration. You know what I mean? Like I kept
Right.
suppressing it because I was just so busy doing for others. And then when that match was lit, it's like I just exploded. So a lot of folks caught hell because I just hadn't let go of that stuff prior. You know what I mean?
Right. So around setback, should we like reframe like expectations, like of things, people, ourselves? Like, are we supposed to? Like, should we reframe our expectations during like the setback years, or should we just be like shooting for like the highest thing and not really putting any um expectations on it?
I would say don't put no expectations on anything.
None.
Just literally just grind.
Because
Just
you'll sit
grind.
there and
When
mess
that
around and let yourself
opportunity,
down
yeah, because
real
again, and
quick
that'll
and
set you
discourage
back
yourself.
even worse, right? If you
Yeah.
set a lofty goal for yourself and then you don't obtain it in that set period that you set it for yourself, for whatever reason, that could be, the thing that crushed you mentally and spiritually and all of that. So
Hmm.
I would say don't set any goals for yourself in that sense. I would say if you have a goal, right, write it down first. Write it down to make it happen so you can see it, and then just attack that goal every day, every day, every day. Do not stop until you get to where you're going. It gets
Hmm.
lonely, it gets, uncomfortable at times where it's like you feel like certain people
I,
that you thought would be along on that journey with you showed you their true colors.
yeah,
It,
I will say don't set a certain time limit to have it because a lot of
yeah.
times it takes much longer than what you actually have actually figured and whatnot. So I wouldn't say don't set them high, but I would just say basically don't set them with a certain time limit to get it done because a lot of times it just doesn't manifest
You
that way.
stress yourself out doing it that way too.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Now,
Definitely.
I heard that expectations twofold. I heard it in terms of self, and I heard it in terms of expectations of others. And I've learned at this point, or my prime now, is to leave people where they are. You know what I mean? If they show you a certain thing, I guess that's what it is until they show you something else. And if whatever they're showing you isn't going to be aligned with what you're working on, then sometimes you got to just create that distance and let them do their thing over there. And
If Charles is on the show, he'll have a rebuttal to that. You know that, right?
well, I mean, I'm big on not everybody can go, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you disassociate yourself completely. It's just a matter of, you know what, the energy ain't right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I was down with it for a minute, but now I'm not. Let me just go ahead and try something else. You guys can keep doing it. I'm not gonna sway y'all from not doing it. You
Yeah.
know, if it's some, some fuck shit, then yeah, I got to say something. But if you guys are doing something that I'm no longer into, y'all keep doing it, man. Just don't expect me to be over there with y'all.
Yeah.
Right. Should we start redefining what success looks like with dealing with setbacks? Should we start like redefining these things, or should we just like
Redefining what
kind
it
of
looks
keep
like.
the expectations the same?
I mean, success is different for everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not linear, right? It's measured at different points for everybody.
Yep.
A small win could be for you, could be a major win for someone else. So
Exactly.
the way I see it is a win, and you got to celebrate all those wins to remind yourself that you are making progress, that it is okay, that that it is going to work. Shoot, even a small win like making it to work on time, not getting caught in traffic when you thought you were going to be late. Those little wins, just being appreciative of things like that.
Yeah.
Having gratitude in those situations where, again, you understand that gratitude is going to lift you and elevate you to where you need to be at to get out of that. Because once you appreciate how far you've come, where you started on that journey, then it makes it that much sweeter when you get there.
Right. So it's funny you said that, Riq. I'm actually glad you said that, but it's actually a good pivot to it. How important are the small wins? Like how important are they? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how yeah, just in
Well, small wins
across
are
the board.
always important because I mean, every win is just going to motivate you more to continue on.
Yeah.
So no, every win matters.
Every small win is a step in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
As long as you're moving in the direction of what you're trying to accomplish, you know what I mean? Every step is a win. It's when you get stuck and you're standing still where that's where you become stagnant, and then there's no progress. So like, what are you doing? And now that's when you start getting down on yourself, and now all the doubters and question and haters come around and start pointing fingers and questioning your motives. But it's like, nah, you gotta just put your head down and just, like Riq said, man, you gotta keep grinding.
Yeah,
Definitely. And I think one thing is that when you're dealing with personal setbacks from yourself, I think we have to refrain from watching other people's highlight reels and kind of looking at ourselves and saying, well, yo, that's where I should be because I'm just seeing these highlight reels, versus we don't know every single step it took for that person to get there to show those highlight reels, because people really rarely do people show you the highlight reels of the losses or anything like that. You really just see the wins. Right. So it's major that we don't get caught up looking at other people's highlight reels as setting that for us, and that should be how we look at success. Because to Riq's point, we all look at success very differently in life.
But see, the thing about that, man, is like it's easy to get caught up in that because some of it seems so attainable. Like if you look up to somebody, for example, and all you see is their wins. You don't necessarily see, the losses behind the curtain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when shit hits the fan, and then you see like the chink to their armor, and it's like, oh, you guys just made it look like you guys had all the wins. You guys were really struggling back here, and you haven't addressed and gotten over these hurdles. But to the public eye or the naked eye, you guys got it all figured out. And that I'm speaking somewhat in parallel because I experienced this myself, where I was like, I've been not really idolizing, but if idolized like the top tier, I might have been real close to it. And I was like, I looked up to y'all because I thought you guys were the example,
right?
Only to find out that it was just surface.
Yeah.
Because you close the door and you pull the curtain back, and it's like, okay, you just regular like us.
Right.
Yeah, you think you got it figured out. You guys haven't gotten over the stuff that you guys are, condemning and pointing fingers at me about. So I'm like, okay. So that's the moment when I was like, you got to stop putting people on pedestals because they're going through things just like you.
They're just like us.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about it a little bit earlier in maybe it was a pre-show, maybe like when we first got started. But how important is it when you're dealing with setbacks? And let's all give an example. Like, how important is it to have your support system and leaning into your support system when you're dealing with these setbacks? Like, how important is it, scale from 1 to 10? And if you want to share maybe who are some of the people that you may lean into, or just if you don't want to, just give an example of you may have leaned into someone for some support during some setbacks.
Mm. Uh,
Hightower, anyone can go. Like, the
Shit.
floor is open.
yeah, I would say that.
Someone just keep calling on Hightower. Like, little, I thought you was about ready to go. I see you.
I
No,
thought you was too.
I was thinking, I was
Hands.
trying to figure it out.
Well, while you're figuring out, man, I'll go again, man. My support system was like hot and cold because, for example, you guys are my support system. You guys were there, thick through thick and thin, right? But there's some other people who I leaned on that I thought were, and then when the going got tough, they weren't able to kind of withstand the pressure of or the magnitude of what I was experiencing, and they weren't sure whose side to pick and who was right and who was wrong. And I'm like, it's not about who right or wrong. It's about just support. At the end of the day, this is who I am. This is what I'm experiencing. Either you're going to help me through it or you're not. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of folks that just, phones ain't ringing no more. Texts aren't being responded to no more. Like, okay, you guys show me what it is. I'll come over here. You guys stay over there with it. So yeah, your support system is super important. And for those that I just mentioned, I can't say I consider them support anymore. You know what I mean? Because they didn't support when I needed the most. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Little, you guys, go ahead.
Yeah. As for me, I have a great support. I mean, I have a good support system. I mean, I have you guys, of course. Like Hightower. I mean, y'all make sure, y'all tell me when I'm fucking up, and I, I take the creative criticism. But also y'all boost me up when I'm doing good shit. At home, my daughter, of course. Hey, I see what you're doing. Okay, I'm gonna do that. And my girl, anything I do, she's always behind me. She's, hey, and she's always, hey, write this down. Make sure you do it. And she always checks up on me. I mean, sometimes it becomes to me, my old self, I would have said nagging, but I get it. She just wants to make sure I'm good, and so she's just trying to help me out. But she's always, hey, did you take care of that today? Matter of fact, I passed my safe serve today. First person that said so. I told her, she was like, hey, congratulations. That's one thing down off the
absolutely
off the medal. Yeah, just one thing off the list. Just keep going,
Listen, big dog.
Safe
Small
serve.
wins, baby. Yeah,
small wins. Just small wins.
Small
wins.
We celebrating all that. Word up.
Yeah.
Word up. Riq.
So it is what it is.
Definitely, I'll say my support system was vital through everything I've been through, setbacks and all. Definitely, like my friends, same core group of friends I've had, early 20s, the loss of a girlfriend, right? So going through that, and people who I thought would have been there wasn't there. Having those core group of friends to lean on every day, call, check up on me, take me out, go through things. Recently, 2023, my house had burned down completely. I lost everything, lost it all.
Wow.
And to think that certain people would have been there, all the help and all the situations that we've done and looked out for people, to know that those people weren't really there. You don't hear from those people or what's going on. It's kind of hurtful, right? Especially when you look out for people just blindly, just doing, off the cuff, off the rip. But, again, having core group of friends, having my people there, my bro Keith, my bro David, Dante, Brandon, Daisha. Without them, I don't think I would have made it. Because again, those long nights, not having nothing, just feeling like, it wasn't gonna happen.
I got to start all over again.
Yeah, having to start all over, literally from ground zero, but having those people there pushing, offering support. And again, it was a tough situation, right, with a partner in that time where it was like you would have thought that person would have stepped up to do something. You would have thought that person would have had your back when it all got rough for you because you were there for them when, things were rough.
Yeah.
But it took that moment to realize where it was like, it may not be what I think that is. And, I had to reevaluate that situation, right? So it takes those rough, traumatic situations to reveal that. But understanding, like Hot Tower said, where it was like, yo, people you thought would have been there or thought, you could have heard from, the phone goes dead or everybody got an excuse as to why they can't help you or they just figured that, oh, you got it figured out or, it'll work out for you. And it's like, geez, like I don't ever ask for help. So if I'm asking for help, it's for a reason. But the fact that, you never responded back to me, say no more and I'll show you. Whereas like again, new situation, new crib, new everything, new movie drop. So again, it went from one to another. So I'm just thankful for the bounce back.
Word up.
What's up?
No, definitely. Congratulations, salute on that, man. Yeah, sorry to hear about that, right? But how important, when we are dealing with these setbacks and situations and we have our good support system, is it important to maybe sit back and reassess things and maybe make a pivot if you have to when dealing with setbacks?
Definitely, you got to come with a game plan. Every day you got to get up with a plan to make something happen, right? Like High Tower said, getting stagnant, staying in place right there, perfection paralysis will stop you from doing what you need to do. Because again, now you're standing around looking at people's highlights instead of creating your own highlights. So again, if you got your own game plan, you got your own motives, you got your own, thought about what you want to do. Like you said, man, you pivoted and did what you had to do, selling plates, door dashing, whatever. No, it wasn't the most glamorous. No, it wasn't whatever. But again, you have to roll up your sleeves and figure out what had to get done because as a man, things have to be handled. So again, if it's day to day, week to week, month to month, just figure it out and just keep going. So again, you got to have some type of plan, some type of idea, and just keep evolving it.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you ask that question, man, because it wasn't until I was going through therapy that I realized that I was in the middle of a setback and didn't realize that I was in the middle of a setback. And it was through therapy when it was like, okay, it's time to pivot. Now, how do you pivot? You know what I mean? Because this pivot isn't going to be just for you. It's going to be a ripple effect around everybody around you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it's like you get so used to doing certain things and you don't realize that those certain things are what's causing the setback. And it wasn't until, I really had someone put the battery in my back and I was like, wow. And now that I made that pivot, I look back and like, wow, I was really going through it and didn't know because I was just head down doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing, but I wasn't taking care of myself.
That's crazy.
Crazy. You wanna?
Nah, I really don't. Nah, pretty much to what they had to say. Just keep grinding, man. Just keep grinding. That's all it is.
Word up. No, that's real. That's definitely real. But Hightower, again, it's like you guys the energy's good because y'all are helping me pivot to these next segments. So, and the importance of it, right? Of the setbacks and
I just got another win just now.
How important so you got me addicted to that Monopoly game, by the way. Like I didn't invite it. I'm super addicted. That's a whole other conversation. Sorry, Spawn, my listeners, viewers, my bag about that. But this guy, I'm addicted to the Monopoly game right now. But no, how important is it when you're dealing with this though to take care of your mental and physical, just your well-being during the setbacks, right? Because you can exhaust yourself of just trying to I gotta get back to it. I gotta get back to it. I gotta right. But in the process, you can exhaust yourself mentally trying to chase that win to get yourself caught back up in a setback. It's so how important is it for you guys and all, if you want to share a method of which you guys may use for a mental or physical way you're keeping yourself like together in dealing with the setbacks, because that's very important, as well.
I mean, first and foremost, it's super, super important. Like, it's the number one thing when you're dealing with this is to take care of yourself, your mental, your physical, all of that. Because what you don't realize is you suppress it and you end up killing yourself from the inside. You got to just make sure you're taking care of yourself, mind, body, and soul. How you go about it is going to be different for everybody. I don't have any specific remedies. For me, it was just fully coming to terms with focusing on what I can control and only what I can control. Stop worrying about other people and what they can or cannot bring to the table. It's like, well, if you're only going to go 2 steps and I got to go 8, I can control the 8. You know what I mean? Like, I just control what I'm doing. I'm not going to worry so much about what you can or can't do, because that's where some of the stress comes in. Because it's like you start comparing the work ethic and comparing, all this and all that with everybody else, and it's like, for what?
And then it makes it even worse because social media is like the worst, because you're seeing everybody doing all these good things, and don't be in a relationship now. Your partner's seeing all these things, and they expect the same things that they're seeing, and it's like, damn, I can't, make that happen like that, like, and not like yet, or whatever it is. Like that should definitely be killer.
Yeah. And it's a trickle down because it affects everybody around you. Loved one. You take it out on everybody and don't realize.
You got to remember to be kind to yourself, though.
First.
Facts.
Being kind to yourself. Again, taking the day for yourself. Like how Tyler said,
real with
it wasn't like going to therapy helped me with that, right? Figuring out a day for myself once a week where I just do something nice for me. Not everybody else, not looking to help someone or do a kind gesture for someone. I enjoy that. I love it. I'm filled by it. But if I don't do something for myself, I'm never going to fully appreciate what I do getting up every day going to work, right? I'm never going to fully appreciate the sacrifices and the changes and the growth that I've made over the course of my life if I don't do something for myself. No, I'm not going to the Bentley dealership every Friday, but, if that means me, going to take myself out to eat, or getting myself some new clothes or sneakers, or, a new situation, whatever, something that I enjoy doing. That's what I'm doing for myself. I'm taking that time for myself, because again, if I don't put me first, like how Tyler said, now you end up resenting other people. Now you have these suppressed emotions and you're not even realizing what you're going through. You're just thinking that, you're handling business, but in reality, you're hurting yourself, because again, your feelings matter. Your happiness comes first, and your idea of what and how you should be treated definitely matters. So being kind to yourself, taking time for yourself, I'm a big proponent of that.
Just like Hightower said. Like Hightower said, you got to take care of yourself first. I mean, you can't help anyone unless you help yourself first.
Right.
And I started realizing, helping all these people, I wasn't doing what made me happy. I was no longer in the gym. Now I'm shriveling up, I'm getting small and stuff like that. And that was like my fun stuff. That was like my fun time. That was like my time to meditate, relax, get in the gym, lift weights, stuff like that, and go. But then after a while, I'm in the bed all day, depressed, and I'm just stuck because of the simple fact that, I don't know where there was times where I didn't know where to begin and stuff of that nature, but like I said, with, a good portion of my support system, they just kept pushing. I still haven't got back to the gym, but that's soon to come.
We're gonna get back. We're gonna get back.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you was. Hey, yo,
but listen.
What we doing on Mondays? You want to get? But I was going through some stuff, and it's just like, Like, I definitely, I'm one of those people you got to motivate. If you don't motivate me to do something, it's just like, man, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Maine, we back in Franklin Park with it. I used to see Maine up there when I used to be in the park all the time, get my walk on. So Maine,
definitely, and I'll be back up there because, like, in addition to like therapy, like going for walks was like super therapeutic for me. I throw the AirPods in. My playlist was crazy, and I just be like just going around and like totally in the zone. I mean, Riq was out there again. It was super therapeutic for the both of us. I could see Riq's out there. He's having a good time. He got his people. They sitting there kicking it. Like it's very, very therapeutic. That was definitely one thing that helped. Like just I could be having a rough day. Like, and it was going. I really started walking during that time period of when I wasn't like working as much. You know what I'm saying? Like after I left the job and all that stuff. Like I would hit the park sometimes like twice a day. You know what I mean? Just to like burn off the steam and the energy, you know what I'm saying? But also for me, like my first love or what I love doing is I love cooking, right? I love cooking. I love just creating. I just lose my mind when I'm in the kitchen. So cooking is extremely therapeutic for me. That's another form of therapy where I can just go in the kitchen literally and just zone out, and sometimes just cooking for no reason, like not for no reason, like, but just like when I'm motivated and I'm in one of those moods, I may make like a whole meal, a dessert, a freaking drink, like all that shit, just because I'm like so locked in, you know what I mean, in the kitchen. And definitely, you know, that was one thing that helped me out. Shout out to the good brother Anthony Howard, who is here from 617 Defense, because just a few weeks ago I had the pleasure of attending his class, and now I'm gonna be able to add the gun range to my therapy. That's gonna be one other way that I'm gonna get a chance to go and have some other therapy is letting a few shots off to just like, you know what I mean, feel good. So I think just finding different ways what works for you, you know what I mean? Like me and Riq said, we were walking, you know, I cook, Little goes to the gym, you know, Hightower rides jets. Like everyone does things differently for therapy that they like. You know what I mean?
Going to the studio for me,
you know,
that's
I'm
another
just
one.
saying like that. So
Going to the studio, that's another one. Especially like lately, like I've been in like a crazy zone because again, like Sam said, just being consistent, right? Being consistent, and then this is probably like the most consistent I've been going to the studio in like the last like 5 years. But the amount of music that I have and the amount of bangers and the amount of stuff that's coming together, it's like, yeah, let me get back to it. And then you realize where it was like Hot Topic said, I was selling myself short. Where it was like, I need this. Now it's like if I don't make it all those days out the week, now going to the studio, I'm frustrated. I gotta tighten up. I gotta get what I want, but I also don't want to overwhelm myself, right, with that. So then I kind of push away from it. Whereas like, nope, if I miss the day, it's okay. I got another day. We're still going. We're still cooking. We're still working. I'll just say this, y'all like get it first. I got 2 projects dropping this year.
Woo!
That's what's up.
Word up.
I got one done. I'm looking to drop probably in May, and then another one by like August. So I'm on like that DMX 98 run right now.
Let me just say, Riq, the joint you sent me the other day, crazy.
Boogie's crazy.
I was like, yo, what are we doing right now? Yeah, that joint was crazy, man. Yeah.
Shout out to the producer, whoever hooked the track up.
Yeah, my boy KT
you, my
hooked
brother,
that up.
for the way the beat, because you just like the beat never lost you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely shout out.
100%.
Definitely shout out to you.
I haven't heard it, so I gotta get in there and check it out.
I'm gonna get it over to you, Sam, so you can hear it. That was the joint we shot the video for at Shea Boo's at the Roll Up Skate Party. So shout out Payne pulled up, shout out Polka pulled up, shout out DJ Dev.
I'm still mad. Man, he hit me, was like, yo, what you got going on? I was like, man, I'm just getting back to the house, man. I'm just it's like, yeah, I'm trying to get over there. Like, damn.
It's all love. Trust me. There's gonna be plenty more videos this summer. Plenty more. Like I said, I'm going on like a DMX that 98 run.
Oh,
Okay.
So
two
again,
albums in a year, huh?
Okay. All right.
ain't
Well,
nothing
yeah,
but
that's,
ain't nothing to it but to do it. Because the way I see it is like once you get back in the zone, where you realize, like
word.
Hightower said, you were selling yourself short, and it's like you
Yeah.
know you reawaken yourself. Where it was like, this is my purpose. This is what I do.
Mhm.
Like y'all can make songs. You can make. I make anthems. So
Mm,
we'll just go at it like
Facts.
that.
that's what's up.
Facts. Definitely.
That's what's up.
I mean, the last thing I want to get into, man, is just a little reflection on the setbacks. And that, you know, this stuff is all just temporary,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Like it's a setback. So you guys want to share any comeback stories or any comebacks that you might have coming from or coming out of a setback, you know, something small. It could be anything that you want to share from a
Well,
minor setback you might have, and
well,
just the triumph of it.
well, going back to what I said earlier about my son, like, the triumph part of that was finally learning how to understand him and really like just listening to him and understanding how to kind of deal with him because everybody is not the same. I grew up kind of tough. People were tough on me about how I had to do this, how I had to do that, how I had to portray myself. And I thought, that was the same way I had to approach it with him. But he's not the same type of person I am.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
um, he's a little bit more gentler. So you have to speak to him a little bit different. And so once I learned how to really reach him that way, that's when, all of a sudden I'm getting these texts. Hey, Dad, check this out. I got a little track going on because he raps also. So it's like, check this out. How you think this? How do you like this? Like, it's all right, but you got it. And like now he's able to take the creative criticism I do give him and whatnot. Like, so
Word.
I'm happy for that. He's doing well. Ricky may be trying to reach out to you real soon. Who knows?
I told him on the movie set we need to get together. I gave him my number, told him to get with me. We gonna
Nah.
tap in.
All right. Yeah. He doing little things here and there. I think he's just a little bit on the bashful side. I think he needs someone other than me to really tell him, okay, this is cool.
Nah,
Yeah.
definitely.
He,
He definitely
he
got some
listened to
stuff.
Chuck, but he knows Chuck really ain't no rapper like that. So he's just like, okay, he's just being nice.
And his taste in music is whack.
Yeah.
Oh man. Nah, definitely we gonna have to get with him, right? Because I know exactly what that's like. Kind of like playing yourself down, not really too
Yeah.
much, especially like when you first like getting started, where it's like you don't know how people's gonna react or they'll treat you a certain way, so you don't want to really say nothing. But then you get to a point where it's like, yeah, I am that guy with this shit. Like there is, a couple of y'all are saying something, but many of y'all ain't saying shit, and
Yeah.
Word.
so
Mhm.
yeah, y'all
Word up.
and then you just get to a point where it's just like, yeah, I'll put my music up against anybody's. Where it's like mine
Word.
versus whoever, and we can go song for song, joint for joint, bar for bar, and then it's just a confidence thing. But again, like you said, you giving that confidence to him, right? Giving that feedback to him means the world. Because again, for you and your son is you. For me, it's my mother. She let me know straight up if it's there
Mm.
or if it's not. So. But again, if I having that approval, because in the beginning she would tell me stuff, and it's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're hating. You're just,
Mm.
you're not, you don't hear what I'm hearing. And then when I applied it, when I actually listened to understand and not reply, I started making the hits. The first one was Suave, literally
Mm.
the first one. When I sent it, she told me, she was like, yeah, that's the one. She was like, I know a hit when I hear it. That's it. And then from there,
Dope.
so.
Dope. HT, you want to share a little something of a
Uh,
triumph from a setback?
yeah. A couple years ago, this was a professional setback and triumph. So a couple years ago, I was in my role, and it was that performance review season,
Mhm.
and I thought for sure by by the body of work that I was going to get promoted, get the raise, get all that stuff, and because of my experience, I had doubt. So I woke up that morning and I said, one or two things is going to happen today. Either I'm going to get this promotion or I'm going back to grad school. I mean, you guys know the rest. But I end up going into work, going through the performance review, and the review was, call it what it was. It was BS. The feedback they had was for things that I was never responsible for doing. So I'm like, how are you grading me on something that you haven't given me the opportunity to do? And then you say I need to do better at it. Well, give me the opportunity to do it. I've been in this role 3 years. You can't tell me now after 3 years, like, oh, well, you're not doing this. It's like, yeah, you never gave me the opportunity to do it. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I took my black ass and went back to grad school. So yeah, shout out to the guy who didn't give me the promotion at the time because he put the batter in my back to go to grad school, and as soon as I finished, I got out of there. So moved on to greener pastures.
Now I know that feeling.
Yeah, man.
Word up.
Definitely know that feeling.
I mean, I feel like I shared one
Yeah,
thing.
motherfucker, you made us go through our little life stories.
No,
You better not sit here and bullshit us.
No. I got something. So, small win, small triumph, and I'll revert back to when I was when I quit BPS. I got a call. Maybe this happened in October. I'd say in like 2 weeks later, November, I got a call from text message from my good brother Daniel Laurent, who had told me about an opportunity that was coming into town, into Boston. It was like Boston Casting Call was looking for some chefs, and the role you had to play, it was like in like ancient times, but when guys didn't, I mean, I don't have any facial hair anyways, but when guys had no facial hair on during this time, and it was a role, I had no facial hair, I had a bald head, and I ended up being an extra in HBO Max's show Julia. A small role. And so the funny thing is that is like growing up as a kid, like I love watching Julia Childs on the cooking station, like loved her. Jacques Pepin, like that was super dope. So it was a small win to me at the time, and I had a really good time on set, and meeting some cool people. But it just reaffirmed that I knew I was gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I knew that good things were gonna come down the way for me, because I've always been a good, solid person, and I always feel like those type of people will never go out of style, and those type of people always get opportunities presented to them because of the type of people that they are. You know what I'm saying? And that happened, you're talking 1 month or so after, quitting the job, and that happened. So I think for that to happen was super, super dope. And that was like one thing that I could say about that. Even though I was going through this time period, it just reaffirmed that I would be okay. You know what I mean? Even, with so much going on. So that was a super dope time, man. And, you know what I mean? And shout out to my good brother Daniel Laurent, because he's always threw me alley-oops on, all kind of stuff. But again, being a good person, being good people, like that's never gonna go out of style. And even with having setbacks, being that type of person will always afford you to get opportunities, going forward. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we want to, that's it for me. And Little, I feel like I shared a lot, so you know what I mean. But
nah, you good. You good on this side. You good on this side.
I know. I'm just fucking with you, man. But get us up out of here with the mirror time, brother.
Yeah, success is not so much what we have as it is what we are, and that's how we'll end up this mirror time.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that.
That's the dude right there.
I like that. Man, yo, wow, that was a good one, Little.
Spot on, Little.
Yeah, straight up, man. Riq, you got any parting shots before you get up before we get up out of here, man? I know you got a lot of music
What you
and all
got
that
going
stuff.
on, man? I know you
Tell
got
the
some
people where
stuff.
they can find you and all that good
New
stuff.
music on the way. Be on the lookout for the video for Boogie for the song. I'm dropping on all digital streaming platforms. That's on the way. Remember, you could donate to Heal the Hood every Sunday. Going out there doing community work, donating groceries, hot food giveaways. All Forked Up has been a sponsor many a times for the hot food distro, so shout out to him. And that's it. Literally just locked in. Got a bunch of videos planned for this summer. Ready to get back shooting movies. I took a little break. I didn't want to get Spike lead, so with all the characters working together. I took a little break. I stepped back. Now it's ready. Now Adrian's ready for the clown posse. So
Word
That's
up.
what's
We're
up.
woohoo.
That's what's up.
Woohoo. Yeah, you might maybe
Clown
go
posse.
watch All Love tonight, man. For real.
go get
Yeah.
it right there.
Yes.
On Tubi.
Yeah.
Definitely the Denzel of the Tubi movie locked in with y'all right now, man.
Tubi, Amazon, yeah.
Amazon. Word up.
It's out
High
there.
Tower Little, any parting shots when we get up out of here?
What you got, Hype?
I think the only parting shot I got, man, is just take care of yourself, y'all. We're on borrowed time, man.
Yeah.
We kicked off the show sending condolences to the Golden family, man. Like, it's really, really important, man. Just take care of yourself, man. Health is wealth, man. That's it for me.
Word up.
Yeah, just one parting shout out for today. Rest in peace to Big Cuz, John L. Johnson. Love you. We'll see each other again.
Oh yeah, I got one too, man. Rest in peace, my boy Razor.
Yeah.
From the point.
Hey.
Today was his
my
home
boy
service
Razor.
today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, his homegoing service was
Yep.
today. We sent the God home proper, so it was
Definitely.
love. So
Yeah.
Word up. Shout out to all my guys from that side of
Shout
town
out.
from the P, man. Word up. Definitely.
Mhm.
Rest in peace, Razor. And shout out
Yes,
to
sir.
Capo and Payne somewhere jet setting, you know what I'm saying, in the world.
They got High Towers jet. They going all over.
Yeah. High Tower let him borrow the jet. He let him borrow the jet.
Catch flights, not feelings, man.
That's all you can do.
I love it. Nah, no parting shots, man. But like you said, just health is wealth. Take care of yourself. You know what I mean? And just know that the setbacks are just temporary. All right, another episode of Sparring Minds. This is episode 171 in the books. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be back with y'all next week, Friday Night Live. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Yes.
Love.
Got it.